Hiring help is not scaling your business. It's quietly draining your profit and masking bigger problems. As a leader, it's easy to think that a bigger team means a bigger business, but in reality, it often just means you're paying to manage your own chaos. If you keep throwing people at broken processes, you'll eventually wake up with a $0 bank account and a calendar full of babysitting appointments. And for a while, that's exactly what was happening to me. I honestly believed that hiring help was going to fix my chaos because that's what I had been told. But what I didn't see at the time was that it wasn't actually fixing anything. It was just outsourcing my problems. I was still disorganized, still unclear, and still inconsistent. There was just now someone else trying to operate inside of that. And what I started to notice was that the more help I hired, the more expensive my business became, but it didn't become more profitable. And that's when things really started to click. Because what no one tells you is that when your systems aren't dialed in, hiring help does not solve the problem. It just shifts it around. Now you're not just dealing with broken workflows, you're paying for them as well. And then there's another layer to this that's a little harder to catch. Most of what you end up delegating in the beginning isn't actually tied to revenue, because that's what you're told to do. You delegate the $5, $10, $15 an hour tasks, posting, organizing, inbox management, admin, things that make you feel like you're getting ahead, but your income doesn't actually reflect it. So your business starts to feel busy and supported, but your profit isn't moving. And most times it's actually disintegrating. Meanwhile, the things that grow your business, your messaging, your sales process, and your systems, those are the things that keep getting pushed off. So instead of building something that scales, you're building something that requires more people just to maintain it. Now, real quick, if you're new here, I'm Linnea Carver. This channel is where I break down how to actually systemize your business, build leverage, and increase profit without just adding more people. And if you've been here before, you already know I'm going to tell you the truth, not just what sounds good. And this is actually the shift I had to make. Learning how to build systems so my business didn't rely on people to hold it together. It's something I teach now, but I'll come back to that because you need to see how this actually played out first. This is the part that no one really talks about. When I first started hiring, I genuinely thought I was doing the right thing. I thought this is what scaling looks like, but something felt off. Even though on the outside, everything looked like it was working, revenue was coming in, we were busy, clients were happy. When I looked at what was left over, it just didn't make any sense to me. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I wasn't building a more profitable business. I was building a more expensive one. Money was just going out as fast as it was coming in, with payroll, subscriptions, tools, support, coaching. Everything that I thought was helping me scale was actually eating into my margins. And none of it was directly tied to more revenue. I built this machine that required more people, more moving parts, more management, but it wasn't producing more profit. And in that moment, I had to be really honest with myself. I obviously didn't have a hiring problem or a delegation problem because I literally handed everything over. I had a systems problem. And it was costing me 6 figures a year in wasted overhead. I had hired for relief instead of building for scale. I was handing everything over because I just wanted them to take care of it so I could focus on the revenue generating tasks. I mean, that's what we're told to do. But I didn't hand it over with a clear process or the clarity that they needed. And so what ended up happening is that I spent more of my time redoing the work, approving it, and having to retrain them. I was just eating away at the revenue, spending money for them to do something that ultimately cost me more time. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. It was clear that I was the one creating the expensive problem. Here are the 3 things I was doing that were actually killing my profit. And if you relate to any of what I've said so far, there's a good chance you're doing some of these too. So hopefully this helps. The first mistake I was making is I was hiring as a Band-Aid. I would hire for whatever problem felt the loudest in that particular moment. I thought I needed ads, so I hired an ad specialist. Then I realized I needed help with conversion, so I hired for funnels. Then I needed emails, so I hired for that. And before I knew it, I had multiple people solving disconnected pieces of a problem I hadn't actually diagnosed. So I just kept stacking hire on top of hire without ever fixing the root issue. What I should have done, and what I started doing instead, is stepping back and looking at my business from a higher level. What is the actual problem here? Where is the breakdown? And then once I got clear on the full picture, I stopped hiring for tasks and I started solving for outcomes. Total shift. The second mistake I was making is I was expecting people to build the strategy for me. I would hire someone and assume they could just come in, figure it out, and execute. But then I'd end up back in everything, reviewing, rewriting, approving, correcting. because it wasn't being done the way that I would do it. And that's where I was just going around in circles. So what I changed is that I stopped outsourcing my thinking. I sat down and I built the strategy myself. I would record my thought process. In the recording, I walked through how I make decisions. I mapped out what I actually do when I create content or build a marketing plan. And then I turned that into a system. So instead of someone guessing, they had a clear way to execute. The third mistake I was making is I was hiring before I had something people could plug into. So every new hire created more work for me, more explaining, more managing, more overseeing. But once I had the systems in place, everything changed. Now, when I hire, I'm not starting from scratch. I now hand someone a clear process, a clear outcome, and a clear role. And from there, they're here to execute and improve it. And that's the shift. My job became building the foundation, which is what a visionary CEO, leader, founder does. And their job became making it better. That's when I started to create leverage, like real leverage, instead of draining my profit. So if you're in a place right now where you feel overwhelmed and your first instinct is to hire more help, I just want you to pause for a moment. Hiring isn't what scales your business. Clarity is. Systems are. Hiring should support a machine that already works, not be the thing holding it together. And if your profit isn't where you want it to be, it's not because you don't have enough people, it's because the foundation underneath them isn't solid yet. Once I stopped hiring for relief and started building for scale is when everything changed. My business became more profitable and not busy. So before you go out and hire your next VA, marketer, assistant, whatever, ask yourself, do I actually have something they can plug into, or am I about to pay someone to manage my chaos? Because one of those will grow your business and the other will slowly drain it. If this hit for you, let me know in the comments what you're taking away from this video or what you realize you need to fix first. If you're feeling inspired and want to take real action after this video, I put something together to make this happen. In my 42-day capacity blueprint, I show you the exact systems you can install right now to immediately free up your capacity. It's a simple action plan to leverage your way out of the constant hustle. It's free. Just click the link in the description to grab it. And if you want more on how to actually build systems that create leverage, make sure you're subscribed because that's what we do here. And congrats. You're one step closer to casting out the chaos and building a business that actually scales. See you on the next video.